Alright, so this week I've got 13 Nintendo Switch eShop deals that I want to talk about. Every single one under $10 or your regional equivalent, covering the US, Canada, UK, EU and Australia. And it's a solid mix too, if I say so myself. Some personal favourites, a few I didn't love but still think are worth a shot at this price, and a couple that kind of tie into upcoming releases. So whether you're into RPGs, brawlers, horror, or just want something chill to play, there's probably something here for you. Let's get into it. Before we do jump into the list, just a couple of quick notes. Later in the video, I've got a $10 eShop gift card winner to announce. Stick around for that. I've also got one more to give away though. Entering is simple. Just drop a comment down below. I'll announce the winner next Thursday. Also, if you do enjoy this video, this sort of content, consider hitting subscribe. We do reviews, deals, news, all that good stuff, all focused on Switch. And yeah, look, I know it's easy to scroll past that stuff, but as a smaller channel, it really does help more than you probably realize. Strange Brigade is 85% off, matching its lowest price, and if you've never played this one, now's the time. Now basically, the Witch Queen has risen from her forgotten tomb after 4,000 years, and it's up to a ragtag crew of supernatural hunters to send her and her mummified minions back to the afterlife. Now this is a third-person co-op shooter built around tongue-in-cheek 1930s adventure serials. So think cursed mummies, plummy British narration, and monsters that explode on impact. Now it comes from the Sniper Elite team, and like their Zombie Army ports, their Sniper Elite ports, it runs incredibly well on Switch with gyro aiming and even local and online co-op with support for up to 4 players. Each mission then is packed with secret rooms, puzzles, and environmental traps that you can use to obliterate undead enemies or even your teammates if you're feeling reckless. And yeah, expect to pick from one of the crew and then go explore and kill stuff. Each character has unique powers and amulets that really let you do things like blast enemies across the room or drain health from a crowd. So yeah, I think this one's underrated, polished, and just plain fun, especially with friends. Star Ocean First Departure R is 70% off, matching its lowest price, and while the game is definitely showing its age, this one holds a special place in my collection. I adore Star Ocean. It's a remake of the original 1996 Super Famicom experience, and this version updates the visuals, adds voice acting, sharpens up the UI. You know, it's not quite the full reimagining that Second Story R got, but it still is this fascinating time capsule. Now, it kicks off on this underdeveloped planet where a young warrior named Roddick discovers a plague that's turning people into stone. Now, the quest for a cure basically leads to a mountain, a mysterious light, and ultimately an interstellar adventure that spans worlds and timelines. Now, combat here is real-time with active party movement and flashy skills. But yeah, it was pretty ambitious at its time. I think that actually still stands to this day. So I think overall, yeah, it's old school. It might feel to some a little rough around the edges, but it's got real heart, and for longtime fans of sci-fi flavoured JRPGs, I think it's a classic. Rune Factory 4 Special is 85% off, matching its lowest price, and this one's absolutely worth grabbing if you're into things like life sims, but there's also like a dash of dungeon crawling as well, which I really enjoy. The 5th game actually moved to full 3D. I think it did a lot right, but this remastered 4th entry it feels tighter and more charming overall. Now, it originally launched on 3DS, and the Switch version adds updated visuals, animated cutscenes, and an additional newlywed mode with extra story scenes for each of the different marriage candidates. Now here, you're going to be dropped into the fantasy kingdom of Sophia, where you wake up with amnesia and are immediately mistaken for royalty, kind of that classic setup. From there, though, you can grow crops, tame monsters, explore dungeons, fall in love, cook, craft, fish, take part in seasonal festivities, all sorts basically. Now there is real-time combat too. Yeah, it all ties together in that kind of cozy, satisfying way that only Rune Factory can pull off. I think it's still one of the best in the series, and if you are curious, the new Rune Factory Asuma, absolutely incredible. Trover Saves the Universe is 67% off, matching its lowest price, and if you're after something ridiculous, loud, and genuinely funny, I think this is a great pick. Now, it was originally made for VR. It was converted to flat screen, and it actually works surprisingly well. Now, you control the world here through a floating chairperson, while Trover, a foul-mouthed purple sidekick, does most of the moving and definitely all of the talking. The setup though, your dogs have been stolen by a psychotic bird thing who jammed them into his eye holes and is now using their life force to unravel the universe. tough sentence to say because it's so bloody weird. But yeah, basically you and Trover reluctantly team up to stop him across a string of alien planets that are filled with grotesque characters, questionable moral choices, and constant streams of, I guess, improv comedy. So yeah, this one, it's part action platformer, part interactive sketch show, and somehow it all clicks. Weird, often crude, but ultimately hilarious. Observer is 85% off, matching its lowest price, and it's one of the best sci-fi horror games on the Switch. Now you play as Daniel Lasarski, a New Order detective in a crumbling cyberpunk version of Poland, voiced by the late great Rutger Hauer. Now it's 2084, and corporations here have taken control. Your job is to hack directly into people's minds, often while they're dying, to extract the truth basically buried in their memories. You'll also, at the same time, be hunting for your son. What makes it so unique is how tightly its world is contained. Most of the game actually unfolds inside a rundown apartment block, but it dives deep into surveillance themes, grief, mental illness, and identity. The dream invasion sequences in particular are disturbing and surreal, with glitchy, fragmented visuals that play with reality in really creative ways. See, it's not about action. It's slow, it's deliberate, it's soaked in atmosphere. But yeah, if you like games that get inside your head, literally and I guess thematically, this one's absolutely worth a look. And yeah, it also runs great on Switch. Sophstar is 70% off, matching its lowest price, and if you're into fast-paced vertical shooters with a retro edge, this one absolutely delivers. It's a pure arcade throwback. Crisp resolution, pixel-perfect movement, and screen-filling chaos. But it's not just nostalgia for the sake of it, there's actually real design depth here. Now you play as Soph, a pilot with mysterious teleportation powers and a past she doesn't understand. You are sent on a recon mission that spirals into something that is now much bigger. The game starts simple, then it gradually ramps up through 8 story stages and over 60 challenge missions, each with unlockables, secrets, and 9 playable ships that completely change how you approach each run. There's even a proper vertical mode if you're the kind of person who rotates your Switch. I do that myself for that full vertical immersion, and yeah, that is now particularly easy with the new Switch 2 kickstand. Between the incredible controls, the challenges, and just how much content is packed in here, I think this is one of the strongest indie shmups on the platform. The Company Man is 80% off, matching its lowest price, and I really love this one. It's a side-scrolling action platformer with a very specific premise, basically the corporate grind. It's turned it into a video game. Now you play as Jim, a new employee that basically gets instantly demoted, and now you're fighting your way up the ladder, literally. HR though here is a frozen wasteland, coffee machines are your save points, and your main weapon is a keyboard. Basically you'll use this to bash your co-workers into submission. It's obvious satire at times, but it really does land. You know, each department you visit has a very distinct theme that makes sense, and between the tight platforming, the powered ranged attacks, and health boosting upgrades, it really nails that loop of kind of fight, climb, recover, repeat. There's even secret challenges if you're up for something extra, and yeah, basically, I got a laugh out of it personally, and I think visually as well, it looks great. Okay, now to brawlers, and I love this genre. Transparently, didn't love these ones. I've reviewed both, you can find those videos in the comments, but I wanted to mention them today because they are so cheap, and I think because of that, you may be more forgiving. And look, honestly also, if you're a beat-em-up fan like myself, you may have already played pretty much most of what Switch has to offer, so these may be a decent little, distraction. So first up, Night Slasher's Remake. It's 66% off, a new low, and it has a cult following. It's just the remake didn't land for me. It's based on the 1993 arcade original where you fight zombies, vampires, all sorts of horror creatures basically. And yeah, while it's all here, the content, stage-based progression, boss fights, 4-player co-op, the visuals just feel stiff. The hit feedback isn't great. And I don't know, it kind of lacks the charm of the original pixel art version. But okay, it still plays like a classic beat-em-up at its core, and if you run out of other options, like I said, it might be worth a spin. TMNT Arcade Wrath of the Mutants then is the second one, 67% off and a new low price, but this one's just extremely bare bones basically. It's based on the 2012 cartoon and originally launched in arcades back in 2017. You get all 4 turtles, local co-op, and a handful of new bosses and stages that were not in that original cabinet. But the gameplay here is super simple. Short levels, repetitive enemies, almost no depth. Still though, as well, the retail price of this one is just insane. It's ridiculous. So I do think this discount, for those that maybe have considered it, might be worth grabbing, even if it's just to bash through it with friends one evening. Just look, don't expect anything here close to Shredder's Revenge. Bendy and the Ink Machine is 60% off, and transparently, we've seen this cheaper before. It famously went years without a single discount, and now it's showing up in sales almost monthly. But I still wanted to mention it because the sequel drops later this month, and I'm genuinely excited about that release. That said, I do wish it was getting a dedicated Switch 2 build. It feels like it would benefit from it, but either way, I'll be checking it out here on the channel. The game itself, though, is a first-person horror adventure that drops you into the eerie ruins of a 1930s style animation studio. You play as Henry, returning to Joey Drew Studios years after leaving, only to find the place overrun by twisted ink creatures and secrets better left buried. It starts with a kind of slow, atmospheric creep, but it builds into a genuinely tense mix of puzzles, very light combat, and surreal storytelling. So yeah, it's basically a stylish, strange little horror game. Love the theming though, and yeah, it will definitely mess with how you remember those old cartoons. Dead or School is 85% off, matching its lowest price, and I've got a soft spot for this one. Yes, it's janky, the animations are stiff, the UI is a bit of a mess, the controls aren't perfect, but there's a kind of scrappy charm to it that just works. You can see my full review below. But you play as Asako, a girl raised underground during a zombie apocalypse who decides to fight her way through Tokyo in a school uniform to chase her dream of attending an actual school. It's a 2.5D side-scrolling action game, elements of Metroidvania, so I think melee, range combat, exploration, character upgrades, some surprisingly large environments, honestly, and yeah, you'll be basically traveling through this entire location, going station to station, district to district, fighting these grotesque enemies and bosses. You'll collect story fragments along that journey, and you'll kind of find out what's basically going on above, ground. The writing, though, definitely leans into the absurd. The combat loop, though, is really fun once it clicks. And yeah, basically, it's rough, it's weird, it's oddly endearing. It's a B-movie of a game, but one that I genuinely enjoyed. Lil Gator Game is 50% off, a new low price, and if you're after something super chill, this is it. You play as a gator on a handcrafted island filled with cardboard enemies, silly quests, and that kind of like low-stakes, high-vibe fun that just feels good to explore. There's no traditional combat, it's more about exploration. You'll be helping out these quirky characters. You'll be smacking fake monsters with a stick sword because someone asked you to. Now, it is technically open world, I'll say that, but with everything scaled down to feel tiny, basically. It's a very playful game, almost like schoolyard drama. Think of it that way. There's no fail state, though, no pressure, just movement, creativity, and yeah, momentum. It's kind of like a short hike. If you've played that one, I'd say there's definitely similarities there. Yeah, just basically an easy game to lose a few hours to. Main storyline with this game, roughly, like I'd say, 2.5 to 3.5 hours. So it's not going to last you too long, but I think it does give you reasons to go back at least once. Our winner of the week then is on screen right now. Congrats on the win. Email me for the $10 eShop gift card, and everyone else, drop a comment down below for your chance in next Thursday's video. Final Fantasy VII then is 60% off, matching its lowest price. This is our last game of the video, and while we still don't have a date for the remake on Switch 2, really hoping it shows up sooner rather than later. In the meantime, though, it's always worth shouting out the original, especially if you've never played it. Just do it, play it. But yeah, this version includes some handy extras like 3x speed, battle skips, optional bosses. Just makes it way easier to get through in 2025. But the core game itself's unchanged. You're Cloud, a former soldier turned mercenary who joins a group of eco-terrorists trying to take down a mega corporation that's literally draining this planet dry. So what starts as a job in Midgard turns into something way bigger and I guess kind of way weirder like. It's definitely blocky, it's dated, it's a little awkward at times, but it's iconic and with good reason. It is incredible. Last week's video as well, I did mention Final Fantasy IX. I will say that is still on sale. It's a new low price. Definitely check that one out as well if you missed it. But yeah, it's Final Fantasy. I don't think you can go wrong with pretty much any entry. And yeah, that's the video down. What will you be grabbing? Let me know in the comments. Also, let me know if you have any recommendations of your own. Would always love to hear them. And with that, subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers all.